I'm just a girl from Chicago.
You did 2 years in prison. You spoke on going to jail. You don't seem like you type of guy that will go to jail at all. You seen a police officer attacking a woman, I'm assuming,
Mm-hmm.
and you smacked his ass with a skateboard.
Mhm.
So, question, is skateboard your weapon of choice, or is it just was in a moment where you was skateboarding by? I remember you saying earlier.
So I went to that protest on purpose, and I usually would skate home or I'd skate around with some friends.
Okay.
Right? Because I like skating. I skate recreationally. That's also a form of therapy where writing isn't cutting it. I do something physical. I skate.
Okay.
My weapon of choice is nunchucks.
Nunchucks.
Yes.
Ain't that the shit that
Yes. And I'm good with them, and I can use two at once.
fire on there? Belt. Yeah, I feel give me some nunchucks. That's old school. They don't know nothing about that.
No,
Okay,
they don't know.
great. Stitch them up right up. Yeah. Imagine that. Pop out Chicago. You pop out with some nunchucks. Nah. These little boys got switches. You can't do that. But yeah.
Tell them I do it from over here.
I'm just a girl from Chicago. What they say we're guilty for, they give us our trial. Granny say I'm innocent, trust in the Bible, but I trust in survival. Just a girl from Chicago.
Go, what's that word? I'm KB Nene, and I'm just a girl from Chicago. And today I got with me
Mohawk Johnson, what up?
Mohawk Johnson. That is an interesting name. Kind of give like Indian tribe or something like that. You feel me?
Shit, yeah.
I'm rocking with it. Well, Mohawk, tell them where you from. Introduce yourself to the viewers. Oh, wait. Before you do that, I got to say my disclaimer. Everything I say on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please do not get yourself in a situation it's going to be hard to get out of about something I said. As I was saying, Mohawk Johnson. I'm Nene. Nice to meet you. Introduce yourself to the viewers.
What up, y'all? My name is Mohawk Johnson. I'm from 87th.
You from 87
I'm
and
from
what?
87th. I'm from 87th and Morgan.
Are you from how is that possible?
Uh,
How? Because I was from 79th and Morgan. 78. So that's
Word.
like right down the street. 87 and Morgan is like Mike City. So how does that work?
Word. So my OG had me at Christ Hospital on 95th, down the street from that Chuck E. Cheese that used to be over there.
Mm-hmm.
We moved to New York when I was 4. We came back when I was 6.
Okay.
And I lived right on 87th to Sangamon. Then I lived on Morgan for a little bit. I lived in that crib that was right on the corner, that big house that was across the street from that Harold's Chicken right on 87th.
Okay.
So I lived there for years. I did not live there no more until I moved out of my parents' house after college.
For sure. So we from the trenches. You from the same trenches as me. You feel me? Like I say, that's Mike City. So did you avoid gang life coming up, or you kind of familiar with the
I'm
gang
familiar
songs?
with it in the ways that, like, I had family members who were involved, but I
Okay.
wasn't super close with because I never really got involved.
Okay.
Everybody knew me as a skateboard kid, you know what I'm saying? I grew up nerdy. I like anime, all that other stuff.
Okay.
And other than getting into a couple of fights when I was a shorty, a lot of people left me alone between having hands and minding my business.
Oh, so you was one of those. You was one of those
It's
like,
like-
no, you wasn't going. You was tapping chins, but it's like
Yeah.
after that you just skate away.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, like, we could box or we could both admit that we both like Dragon Ball Z
Oh, Coda.
because it come on Toonami, and I know you got Cartoon Network too.
So your story with growing up different in Chicago, a little bit different from other people's, like with the bullying and the getting jumped on and picked on. So you kind of wasn't going for none of that.
No, I wasn't going, and like it happened. It's just we was gonna box.
You didn't just go. It ain't
Yeah.
just go like
Yeah, no,
that.
and I
Oh,
lost.
cool.
I'm not finna sit here and act like I'm invincible. There's people to this day that can absolutely put me in the emergency room. I'll be capping if otherwise. But it's gonna be difficult. You
For
gonna have
sure.
a mean limp.
That was some shit I say. You have a hard time.
Like you gonna run these pockets, but you might lose a finger.
So you feel like your upbringing was like kind of different from the average person living in that neighborhood?
I would
Of
say so.
aggression.
Yeah, no, I would say so.
For sure. What was your situation with your parents? Was they different, or was they like more actively in the street, and it's just something you seen and didn't want to do, or you weren't really exposed to the street life outside of the environment?
Nah, I wasn't really exposed like that because my mom wasn't involved.
Okay.
You feel me? And my stepdad didn't get down like that.
Okay.
And they were old school. So my mom had me when she was 37.
Okay.
So she was, she used to work at the IBM building. She had a career. She was teaching in colleges on the side. She's like, look, you're going to be in them books, and as long as you stay on the honor roll, I'm gonna buy you whatever video games you want. I'm gonna buy you whatever toys you want. You just stay on the honor roll. And
For sure.
if somebody hits you, you hit them back. I'm gonna hit you when you get home.
On
And I
code
said,
grade.
you know, I captain.
For sure. So you say your stepdad. So you and your biological dad, y'all had a relationship growing up, or like your stepdad been the dad you always knew?
I've known my stepdad since I was 8, so
Okay.
it's been 20-some years. Pops wasn't really around like that. He and my mom had a rocky relationship. Never really wanted to claim me like that. And my papa, my grandfather, he was in my life. My uncles were in my life. So I always had men in my life.
Male influence.
He just wasn't one of them. But, you know,
Got
it
it.
was supplemented by men who, like, did care.
For sure. Now, you spoke on being autistic. Is that a real diagnosis, or is that something that you just, like, a comedy thing? Because, no, they don't play about that. They cancel us.
Yeah, no. The doctor put me on when I was in college. My
For
therapist put me on when I was in college. She's like,
So you
"You're
was
different."
diagnosed with autistic as an adult?
Yeah, because everybody was like, you a little off, but like, again, the
Off
high
in what
functioning,
kind of way?
you know, so the social skills, the not fitting in, the vocal tics, all the other stuff that a lot of kids get behavioral issues from, where they like write you up. My teachers and my therapists even looked at me and they're like, well, your grades are good and you like participating, so we don't see you as like a danger. But that's because I happen to be in a smaller school where like the teachers really got to know the kids. So instead
Okay.
of writing me off and sending me to detention, they're like, all right, you disruptive, but like you disruptive because you want to participate, because you care about what's going on and you really like dinosaurs. And I had a bunch of other stuff. So like when I was 19, you know, I was in anger management, I was in therapy, I was trying to get my life together. And my therapist was like, yo, I think you got the autism. And I got screened. And he was like, yeah, you got it. And
Real?
yeah, no. And then I'm still in therapy, you know. I'm still doing it.
And I think that's why, like, you see like Shay, Bria, it's a few people now, like, they open up on TikTok, kind of like showing they autistic kids and stuff. And I think, like, because I used to be like, why is they doing this? Like, they chasing clout. But I think it's like to raise awareness on it, because it's a lot of different forms and ways, and nonverbal and verbal. So it's like they like kind of educating, you feel me, people on it. I'm learning about it. You like, so you was diagnosed with autism and bipolar?
Yep.
For real?
Yep.
Now I think that's something that I might be. Yeah. I don't know, I might be autistic. There might be a lot of things wrong with me. Don't call the grave. Who knows?
Yeah, that's different. I feel like more people are neurodivergent than not, honestly.
Woo?
Neurodivergent, like on the spectrum, you know, when people's brains are formatted differently, outside of the norm.
Okay.
I honestly think that there's more people who exist outside of the norm than in it. Honestly, like, I think we just had different words for it. And as science has moved forward, we found things to call stuff.
For sure. Okay, so about, you don't mind me asking, how old is you?
I'm 30.
You 30. Okay, so you a little bit older than me. So growing up, we didn't have all these different names, and you think maybe like that's probably why you didn't get diagnosed until so later on into your adulthood. Because growing up, there's just like, oh, you slow, you bad, you little
Exactly.
retarded, give them some pills. Like, you feel me? Not even pills. Like, we weren't even really giving pills, but that's the whole thing. Like, it was either like you was retarded or you was crazy where you needed pills. Like, that's as far as we kind of went with mental health. So do you think now that more knowledge been coming to light, they over diagnosing people, or like, how you see that?
I think it's a mixed bag. So, one, there's more people now, especially like, you know, the 90s. There's just more people now than there's ever been, right? Like, population went up, and when the population goes up, you see more stuff. Like, the number of people with diabetes went up too.
Right.
But nobody's saying that we're overdiagnosing diabetes. There's just more diabetics because there's more people.
Okay.
So it all went up relative to the population. I do think, especially online, because people use stuff so colloquially, they just sort of throw stuff out and around. And I was talking to my therapist about this morning. I had a session at 10 a.m. and she was telling me about like how people just sort of throw ADD and ADHD around, sort of casually, and how some stuff with trauma shows up or presents itself as certain things. And then once people get through that trauma, it ends up not being that. So there is some misdiagnosis. There's the casual internet culture, but I also do think the number genuinely went up. Like, I think it's all
You
of it.
think it's so you because I'm sure by you being diagnosed with it, you did your own research, so you got like a better understanding than most people. So you do think like it's as bad. I shouldn't say it's bad, but it's populated as it is.
I think 2/3 of the people who are online going, I have it,
Okay.
are like for real.
But like you say, because it's so many, it's like a spectrum. Like
Mhm.
you could be not on this. You don't have to be as severe as the next person. So it's hard. It's easy to go undiagnosed.
Yeah, it's real easy to go undiagnosed.
For sure. For sure. I feel that. And talk to me a little bit about your college years.
College, oh God. College, especially my senior year, in and out of the psych ward, you know what I'm saying, dealing with the depression, dealing with the bipolar. I made some attempts on my life.
Okay.
I did not want to be here anymore. I was going through it. I was going through it at school. I was going through it with stuff at home, with family, you know, beef like that. And then like I was in college when Black Lives Matter started.
Okay.
And, you know, being a young black man and being at a predominantly white art school, I was getting harassed by cops going to class. I was getting harassed by cops coming home. I remember one time they pulled their guns on me and my ex in front of my crib as I was opening my front door because they thought I was breaking into my own crib. So dealing with like finally having the language for some of the racial trauma that I had been going through my whole life, but that I couldn't name, like clicked some things. And then that's also around the time I got all of my diagnoses. So there's just a bunch of stuff happening within a 4 to 5 year period all at once.
For sure. And you said that you went to a school of arts, right? So
Yeah.
you went to school for acting.
I went to school for acting and then I transferred into creative writing.
To writing, right? And that's what I was gonna ask you. You switched your major in school from acting to writing. What made you do that?
I realized that after doing acting for like 2-3 years, because initially when I went in, I'm like, I'm gonna do dance. And I'm like, you know what, dance is not my passion. I like dancing. Footwork, you know what I'm saying, whole
Right.
lot, but I don't want that to be how I make a living, especially because I'm looking at my skill set and I'm like, there's people in here who have been dancing since they was little and I do this for fun. This don't need to be my job.
So you a
did-
dancer?
Yeah, I dance too. I do a little bit of everything. So I did the acting for a little bit and I'm like, you know what? There's people in here who love acting and I like it,
Okay.
but I love writing.
Okay.
I love writing.
So when you say writing, like is it like screenwriting? You write your own plays or music? Like what is it that you write?
All of it.
You write everything.
All of it. I love writing plays. I love writing dialogue. I love writing jokes. I love writing poetry. I used to
Okay,
do
do you
slam
think
poetry.
okay, because I had watched the Damon Wayans interview with Shannon Sharp, and he was saying like he think because like mental health running a family, if they didn't write, if he didn't write, he'd go crazy. Like all day, every day, he just got all these scripts he's writing. He said if he didn't do that, he'd go crazy because his mind always working. So do you connect your writing with your mental health? Like is that therapy? Is that a way to kind of just control your thoughts and get it out?
Absolutely. And I feel like it's even been directly connected to how I do content creation. You know, I drop multiple videos a day.
What type of content do you make? If you don't mind me
I
asking, not
make
to cut you off.
no, it's all good because it's all connected. I do skits.
Okay.
I write and do my own skits. I do voiceover work, so I'll write a couple of jokes and then I'll voice over a video.
Okay.
So like, you know, what Tony Baker and them was doing.
So
I would stitch people in and do like improv jokes off the dome. I write characters, you know, I do a little bit of everything. But you know, my mom was a writer. So to get back to your original question, my mom was a writer. And as much as the mental health stuff has been passed on, the love for writing is also there too. And I feel, especially when I was locked up, if I did not write and create things every day.
for sure. So it's just a way to kind of just release. I agree. I think that's what happened because like at a point I had stopped making music and just kind of focused strong on content, so I wasn't really writing no music. And I think that's when I got the lashing out, going crazy. People on the internet thought that I was just being funny, but I was like, it was real, and they just found it funny. But I think all that lashing out came to like I was just letting go. So when I got back to writing and stuff like that, it's easier for me just to kind of ignore the internet and put my energy somewhere else. So I definitely think it's like an energy thing and a mental thing. Go, what's that word? It's KB Nene, and I'm just a girl from Chicago. I'm wearing Dear Mama merch, official Dear Mama t-shirts available, and a lot of colors, a lot of flavors. It's going up. Make sure y'all tap in, order y'all want, take a picture, tag me, make some content. Yeah, we got lyrics. It's a letter. If you missing your special lady, Make sure y'all order y'all a t-shirt and make sure y'all stream it. Dear Mama featuring Hollywood the Artist, produced by T3 Beats. Y'all can order y'all t-shirts on I'm Just a Girl from Chicago.com. Go up. What's some of the some notable gigs you've done?
Oh, so back when I used to do music, because I used to rap.
Okay.
I did Subterranean on North Avenue in Damon. I sold out that bottom room. And it was a real big show. I was doing it with my old roommates. And initially there was talk that maybe I shouldn't be the headliner because they were worried that I wouldn't amass a big enough crowd.
Okay.
But we sold that room out. And then, you know, my manager at the time was able to build a relationship with Subsea and then throw bigger shows in that upstairs space, you know, with the balcony and the whole nine. And it was just a good time. It was probably the most fun I'd ever had. I messed up my voice, couldn't talk for a month, but I loved it. Yeah, no, I was in that, you know, they was playing juke music in there.
y'all
You
was
know,
lit,
we was
shit.
lit. It was great.
For sure. We had talked a little bit about earlier. I forgot because I'm real. Like I say, I don't know. My mind be flying. I tried to offer you some wine. You said, "Nah, I've been sober." So talk to me a little bit about your sobriety.
So when I stopped making music, right,
Mm-hmm.
I started drinking again. And I had already struggled with alcoholism like when I left college. I got real depressed. I started drinking and I was drunk every day for maybe a year. Like leaving for work, start drinking at noon, work drunk, get more drunk on the way home. Then I go to sleep, wake up, hangover, and I'm like, well, can't have a hangover if I'm drunk. Then I drink. And I keep doing it. Yeah, no, and I kept drinking, and then I got arrested. And the year before I got arrested, I'm like, I want to make a change, so I stopped. I made it a year, but then the pressure, like being on house arrest, going viral for getting locked up, all the stuff that was going on, I started drinking again.
Okay.
And then multiple people in my life had like a couple of conversations with me where they're like, we don't like who you are when you drink. And I believed them. And I decided that I was never going to touch it again.
Okay, so that's when you spoke on like going through a downward spiral. That was kind of like that spiral down.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing people outside of you, it just they noticing that it's going from okay, just regular casual drinking and recreational to okay, yeah, it's a problem. You need to see some help for sure. What was that process like though? Because it's easy for people to tell you like, yeah, bro, you messing up. You need to go get you some help. But you noticing for yourself. So like, what was it at that point that you noticed for yourself? Like, I'm at rock bottom. I can't do this no more. It's time for me to sober up.
I had a friend of mine talk to me about like just how angry I was all the time.
Drinking made you.
I was angry, and that's what made me drink. But
Okay,
then-
so when you got drunk, you expressed that anger.
yeah, and I would talk, and you know, I had an argument with one of my best friends, and you know, I still love that man to death. He's still one of my best friends. And I remember when we had that disagreement, and I remember just thinking to myself, I would have handled that completely differently if I wasn't 8 shots in. And we were able to repair our relationship, and we good now. That's still my boy. But I looked at that, and I looked at a couple of other things that was going on in my life, and how that downward spiral and that rage and my refusal to control my mouth, especially when I get drunk,
Yeah.
made me go, I don't like who this man is.
So what is it about liquor that just make us not care? Like I don't care what come out of my mouth. When I got an interview and I just wanted to be, wow, I get drunk because it ain't no telling what I'm gonna say. What it's like. What is it about liquor? Just give us that extra look.
I think alcohol, and some people believe that they reveal their true selves when they're drunk, but I have a different take, and this is a take that I heard from this creator Fat Bread on YouTube, because he's talked about alcoholism and when he used to drink before. A lot of people act the way they wish they were.
Right.
So you know how you get into it with somebody and you walk away from it, but in your head, I'm like, nah, I would have cussed them out. I would have da-da-da-da-da. Some people, when they drink, that's who they turn into. They turn into the version of themselves that they wish they could be. And for me, you know, dealing with the amount of insecurity that I did growing up, you know, learning how to be myself and not truly loving who I am, that's who I became when I was drunk. I became this outward, you know, boisterous and like just unlikable dude who I thought was
I
cool.
could see that. Cause like yeah, that's how I am. I drink to do some stuff that I wouldn't want to do, and I can always blame it on the alcohol.
Right. And when it'll do that. And when I take a step back from it, I'm just like, if sober me didn't want to, he probably knew something, because that's the me that can drive. The me with the me that can legally drive is probably the me I should listen to.
For sure. Then you talked about doing skits. You talked about doing writing. What's your preference in comedy? TikTok or stand-up comedy?
Nothing beats stand-up comedy.
You do stand-up?
Oh, I do stand-up.
Oh, for real? I want to do it. I said one day, back to drinking for courage, I said one day I'm going to just get drunk and I'm going to walk a riddles and jump on stage and just tell my story.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Everybody should try it once. Everybody should try it once.
Real drunk to do that, I'm scared.
I think you should try it once drunk and once sober, so that you see if you still have it.
For sure.
But yeah, no, nothing beats stand-up comedy. Nothing beats knowing whether or not you can amass an audience and take them on a journey with you that they weren't prepared to go on.
For sure.
You don't get that from the stream.
Now, what about like as far as financial though? Because of course, if you got a venue that can only hold 1,500 people, you can only book 1,500 people, opposed to being the TikTok and social media with the algorithms. You kind of like get a way bigger platform, and people just can watch you from their seats. So, which one you think is more lucrative?
It depends on the platform, and it depends on your relationship to the apps. TikTok don't like me.
Me neither.
So I can so there are plenty of videos that I've gotten more than like 15 million views on, and they've never paid me.
Oh no, they don't like me like that because I don't play with no hoe like that. Don't call the
Yeah,
girl. I
no.
thought you were saying like your videos don't be going viral.
No, my videos will go viral,
Nah,
then
don't go
they'll
viral
disqualify them and be like, "Hey, that don't qualify for the money."
Yeah, for
And
the
I'm just
money.
like, "Oh,
It's
so
just qualifying for the money shit. Ugh.
so you
Then
mean to
start get
tell
ready to
me?"
say y'all money.
Yeah, no, for real. It's just like, so you mean to tell me you can get everybody ad information and sell to them, but I can't make my 50 cent to $1 per view. I can't have my 16 million. I bet. So yeah, no, at least when I do a live show, I know I'm getting paid because I set my prices up front.
For sure. Now we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about the real shit. We gotta get down to it. You did 2 years in prison. You spoke on going to jail. You don't seem like you the type of guy that will go to jail at all. You seen a police officer attacking a woman, I'm assuming,
Mm-hmm.
and you smacked his ass with a skateboard. So, question, is skateboard your weapon of choice, or is it just was in a moment where you was skateboarding by? I remember you saying earlier.
So I went to that protest on purpose, and I usually would skate home or I'd skate around with some friends.
Okay.
Right? Because I like skating. I skate recreationally. That's also a form of therapy where writing isn't cutting it. I do something physical. I skate.
Okay.
My weapon of choice is nunchucks.
Nunchucks.
Yes.
Ain't that the shit that
Yes. And I'm good with them, and I could use 2 at once.
fire on there? Belt. Yeah, I feel give me some nunchucks. That's old school. They don't know nothing about that.
No, they
Kurt
don't know.
Gray stitch them up right up. Yeah. Imagine that. Pop out Chicago. You pop out with some nunchucks. Nah. These little boys got switches. You can't do that. But yeah.
Tell them I do it from over here.
So back to the situation with the cop. Was you drunk when you reacted? Or
Oh, no, I was completely sober. That was one of the last times I had quit drinking. So I was fully sober and in my right mind.
It was a conscious decision.
Yeah, no, you don't put your hands on people.
For sure.
You don't put your hands on people in front of me. You showed up at a Defund ICE and Black Lives Matter protest to commit police brutality in order to defend your other homies who was also committing police brutality.
For sure.
If I could have swung on all of y'all, I would have. But like, it is what it is, and I'm different now. But like,
So
in that
how you
moment,
feel about the situation with the boy, Kyle Rittenhouse? He was out in Wisconsin. He was volunteer. Okay, so I guess you would have been on the opposing side, the protesters, as Black Lives Matter. And essentially, they said that he was attacked by a mob of protesters, and he wound up killing like 2-3 people and getting off for it. So, you feel me, you kind of went to jail on the opposing side. You seen the police officer doing the wrong thing, and you kind of attacked him. You ain't get off for that, I assume.
No, I didn't get off.
Yes.
I'm a felon right now. I'm
So,
currently on probation.
What's your viewpoint on that? Being in those protesters and you see how it look on both sides and how hostile it can get on both sides. what's your viewpoint on his situation? Do you feel like he was right or wrong in that situation?
Well, no, because Kyle Rittenhouse is from Illinois. He went to Wisconsin with a gun to help back police because police are being held accountable.
Right.
He crossed state lines with a weapon for the explicit purpose to harm people.
Right.
I didn't pull up to a protest with a gun. I pulled up to a protest with my vehicle
skateboard.
and then saw a man choking a woman. Kyle Rittenhouse menaced people with a weapon, and they like, hey, you gonna use it or not? And then they got on that with him because he got on that with them.
Right.
He wasn't even in his own zip code.
Don't code him.
He should have stayed.
Yeah, because that was strange. And then, yeah, they did. They were saying, like, by him being resident, like, Illinois, he wasn't supposed to go.
Yeah, he wasn't
ain't-
supposed to
got
be in there.
All his charges dismissed.
Yeah, no, and he made $1 million too. He made $1 million on his GoFundMe.
Straight up.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that boy got paid for being evil.
That's why we need to run up $1 million for Rodney Hinton. Hoes. What you talking about? On Code of Grave. What you feel about that situation? Rodney Hinton, basically, essentially, his son was killed by the police brutality. He was running away. His daddy went to the police station. They showed him the footage. He crashed out.
Hey, that officer probably fit the description, and that officer was probably resisting Rodney. So I
well,
feel-
it's like he just. I think that's what they were saying was wrong because they basically said like when he left, he just went and hit a random officer that was like retiring, and he was just doing like some extra work, doing a graduation or something like that. Like he essentially didn't have nothing to do with nothing. He was an older white guy, but it's like how I feel it. What I was saying, I'm gonna get your opinion on it. I feel like he was right, not necessarily because he went and just did something to somebody, but it's like. At this point, it ain't like they gonna tell me who did it or which officer or I can find him at. So it's like, you feel me? It's wrong how it played out, but it's been wrong how it played out with us a whole lot of times. You feel okay? So you got one wrong. All right, we wrong this time, but all right, what about the 50 million times I was wrong? All right, so we finna bask in our wrong on Code Red.
The way I look at it is the second everybody watched the police sick dogs on Dr. Martin Luther King. He's all shorties in school. That should have been the end of the conversation.
On TV, I feel say we ain't that old.
No, we ain't that old, but like when we was growing up, learning about
Black History Month.
Yeah,
so they told us.
Because I had homies that was like, I'm thinking about joining the police department. And I'm like, remember when they sick the dogs on Dr. King? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, you want to join them? Yeah. And they was like, but it's not like that. And I'm like, how is it not? I just saw, I remember when Tamir Rice happened and when Trayvon Martin happened and all them other children. I'm just like, they're shooting children and people is on the internet like, saying that the kids deserve like it. And you want to join them? Nah, don't be over there.
Like it was directly affected with us. Like everybody hear me say on Coda. Like they don't know that was my friend Dakota Bright that was killed by the police when he was 15. So we witnessed that. Even when I did my pass out, the police was harassing us. Like in my neighborhood, well, you essentially from my neighborhood, neighborhood, growing up. You can't be walking down the street, riding down the street. You can't look the wrong way like you getting harassed by.
Yeah, no, they get on that with you. Remember when they used to grab people and they bring them to Pilsen? So that the Kings would beat them up, the Kings would get on that with them, and then they come back and lock you up talking about some you was in a gang fight.
Pick you up, drop you off in your opposite neighborhood. CPD used to be dirty. Chase you, you can't even run. Like, you run from the police, they'll stop chasing you. Like, you will get shot in the back of the head, anything, and they'll lie. So, you think that got to do a lot with reform? How you feel about police reform? I feel like we was the reason why they had to reform. Go to grave.
I feel like to reform somebody, they would have to be sorry.
On Coda.
Yeah, I don't think they're sorry.
Yeah, you don't feel like they sorry. You just feel like they got consequences now, so they're a little bit more careful.
They're careful, but like I feel like again, like with my homies, I'm like, do you want to join a fundamentally evil institution?
So you feel like it's evil from the roots, because that's why you took it back to with Dr. King now, more like with that police was originally slave catchers, so you take it back even that farther.
It's like them dudes had kids, and them kids is just the officers that I had to box at the protest. They ain't go nowhere.
Yeah, because then when you be looking at it, it do be like generational things, because most, if the granddaddy be a police officer, the daddy be a police officer, all three sons be a detective, a police officer, one might be a doctor, like you feel me, it's kind of be... Yeah.
Like if I'm a writer like my mama, then you probably an op like your daddy. I don't trust you.
Yeah, they expecting me to be a crackhead, but I ain't following my daddy footsteps.
That's real.
Oh, call the grave out with my mama way. Almost now grave. So, Do you, as far as your comedy, because you are a comedian, do you roast? Like, how do, cause okay, cause I be that be my thing with comedy. I be trying to respect those lines about staying funny and being disrespectful. Like, I never want to try to disrespect or humiliate nobody. But if you say something me, like you open that door, I'm gonna go all the way. Like, I'm gonna tear your ass up. So what about you? Do you do the roasting and trolling?
I do roasting, but I roast people who so I get paid to roast politicians.
Right,
I
so you
get
do
bank
roast
from it.
battles.
So I
Okay,
do
see
roast
that.
battles and I roast like politicians that's hurting people. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been paid multiple times to roast JD Vance, Elon Musk, even though Elon Musk ain't a politician. He in the White House too much. Yeah, people have paid me to just do roast on Insta. You know, you send me a minimum of $5, tell me what
Kind of like
politician you want me to roast, I get on that.
Ontario, the
Yeah.
barbecue. So you like
Yeah.
to just get on there.
Yeah, no, and I'll just get on that with them because like how you gonna deport all them people and I don't say nothing about how big your head is and how you can only fit a button up.
So cold. We was talking like, of course you do rap battles. I see you do rap battles, and I see that you had did a competition and you had lost, and they posted that, but then you had a victory and you won, but they didn't post that. Why you think that was?
So they ended up posting it later, but it came out. I think the clip of me losing just hit more. To be honest, like I think the clip of me losing probably hit more.
What you mean by hit more?
Like I think it was more views worthy. You know what I'm saying? When I think about like roast battle, and I've said this to them and about them, Chicago roast battle has tricked a lot of unfunny people into thinking they're good because they could be racist. And I think when your core audience just wants to see somebody make black jokes, you post the white guy who you're already friends with, who's already judged the competition before doing the black jokes. Because that whole battle, I think he had like 4 black jokes and then 1 joke about me being in jail. And I'm just like, they know I'm black. They can see me. Like, we in here together. Like, say something else.
Man, yeah, that's crazy. So it is out, because that was the question. Do you think we'll ever get a chance to?
It's out. So I recant my earlier statement, and I'll own that. At the time, I didn't see it, but I've seen it now. So if I was incorrect, that's on me.
Go, what's that word? It's KB Nene, and I'm at Iron Team Studios, where they have the best mixing and mastering and the top-notch security, cameras everywhere, so you can feel secure and safe while you record your music. You can also come and record your content. And if you're interested in starting a podcast, or if you need a location to film your podcast, your set can look like this. We got A1 quality, A1 cameras, A1 production. Come tap in with my people. You can book your time slot at www.ironteam.com. Lock in. We got a segment called the hot seat. Shit get a little intense. We get down to the nitty gritty. Why do these folks keep shadow banning you for talking about Gaza? Now, I ain't familiar. So what you been saying about Gaza too?
Okay, so one, is free Gaza all day. The Black Panthers said it, and I am not blacker than the Black Panthers. I am not blacker than Fred Hampton and Huey P. Newton. We look at the history of how Israel became a state, how Britain had land in the Middle East that didn't belong to them in the first place, how Theodore Herzl, the dude who started the Zionist Party, was like, give us land because the Jews need somewhere to be, because of rising anti-Semitism in Europe, which was valid. If you don't want me here, let me be somewhere else. But it was never about going to the homeland. It was about being somewhere. They was going to put it in Uganda. They was going to put it in Argentina. They was going to put it in a bunch of other places. And then they settled on Palestine. Palestine was like their third option. So they knew they wasn't from there. And then Europe gave it to them after World War II. And then what happened? They immediately started killing the natives because they tried to pretend there wasn't nobody there. And they propagandized generations of people into thinking they weren't there.
It's like a European blueprint.
Yeah, that's their favorite thing to do. Oh, well, God said I could have this land. Like they did to Palestine with the British people and the Quakers and them did over here. Where it's like, well, God said. It's just manifest destiny.
For sure. So you for Palestine?
I'm for Palestine all the way.
Free Palestine.
It's going to be free Palestine, free the Congo, free all of them.
They do got something like that going on.
They got it going on in the Congo, too.
White people feel like they got a right to just come and take people's shit. And kill everybody. It didn't lie. Said it was a disease. They should have been vaccinated. What the fuck is going on with the people?
That's what they own. You know, I don't think they from here.
They aliens.
Yeah, no.
Quarter grade, you reptilian bastards.
There's this one comic. They did a joke about it. Name's Jay something. They was talking about how like white people alien as fuck. It was one of the funniest stand up bits I've ever seen.
Yeah, man.
It was hilarious.
I don't think they alien. I think they like a part of human that didn't develop all the way or something.
They undercooked.
Yeah, oh, they undercooked.
You know how raw chicken lighter? They're not fully baked.
Oh, call the grade folks, so like they ain't reached their full potential, folks. I don't know. It's
They
like,
pulled the souffle out too early. It flattened.
I ain't gonna have no white fans after this. They already feel like they got THF Lena dragged, man. It's bad. Wellbeing check. Even with all these mental health issues, you seem like you're a pretty smart, educated, you feel me, outgoing guy. But you have to ask because as black men, y'all go through a lot of stuff that y'all don't really talk about. You feel me? So you never know where y'all kind of at mentally. So wellbeing check. Where you mentally?
Mentally, I'm actually doing a lot better, right? Like, I'm happy. I'm getting healthy. I'm taking my health more seriously. You know what I'm saying? I already cut out drinking. I've been cutting back on my sugar intake. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I've been working out more. You know, I'm down a shirt size.
Okay.
I'm feeling better about myself. I feel good about my art. I'm starting a new job Monday that I'm really excited about. You know, like it's been worse. It's honestly been a lot worse.
For sure. You feel like you're in a good space.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to hear, for sure. Any upcoming shows you working on? Tell the people how to stay tuned with you, how to stay locked in with you.
Word. So if y'all want to follow Talk Nerdy to Me show on Instagram, I produce a show that comes out every month where we do nerd-based stand-up. So it's all stand-up comedy. There's also like drag performances, skits, and all types of other stuff. It's less of a stand-up show, more of a variety show.
You said drag performances?
Yeah.
Okay. So you one of them type of comedians, you dress up like a girl, where you stand with?
So my roommate is trans and they do drag.
Oh, so you actually have trans that on your show.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant when you say like drag, I thought because you had, okay, so what's your viewpoint with men who act like women for comedy? Not because that's because who they are and they just, you feel me, turn that to comedy. But like if a straight man, how you feel about Tyler Perry?
So I used to love Tyler Perry when I was like 11, and then I had a conversation with a woman where I listened to her.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, so this is just menstrual. This is just a menstrual show. This is just, he's just shelling out every single weird stereotype or exaggeration that he's ever heard about black people. Like to watch Tyler Perry is to watch a season of Jerry Springer.
My guy told me that like he showed black people always in a negative light type shit. Yeah, I get that, but I wasn't saying like how you feel about him necessarily as a person or actor. I mean like the whole thing about the men who like straight men, non-gay men who dress up like women solely for comedy, for comedian. Like
I feel like, because like I've definitely done characters that are women in skits where like I just needed a girl character and I didn't, and nobody was available. But I feel like if you specifically do it to make fun of, demean, or make little of women and their struggles, like if your focal point is I'm gonna be like, dudes who put on the wig and they like, I'm gonna pretend to be ratchet, I'm gonna pretend to be this, like I don't like
so
that.
you feel like
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Saying that's what your perception of a black woman is.
Yeah.
You feel me? Now I gotta be ghetto, I gotta have a long nails. Like you can't be a respectable black woman if you gonna play like that. Like you try to show the worst side of black women.
Right. Or when you can't even find the love in the type of women that you don't necessarily agree with. You know what I'm saying? Like to parody something is to look at it with love, poke a little bit of fun at the parts that are funny in a way where everybody's laughing together.
For sure.
But a lot of them dudes, and you notice this, especially like a lot of them straight black men, a lot of them straight black men have predominantly white fans. So who's laughing when you do that? Like who's laughing at your ghetto black woman character other than white people? And why you putting on a show for them? That's weird. They move weird. I don't like that.
For sure. On Go to Grave. Now that you break it like that, you make me look at a lot of different people like I don't like them. Because people, for real, because people will try to humiliate you for their content. And then they be like, oh, well, it's funny. Well, it's funny to who? Then you look at they platform. You feel me? Like, you feel me? The people that they looking at like. And then I look at people like they platform is a reflection of them. Because you going to attract people that's like you. They attract what they related to. So that's what they attract to. They're going to come to and gravitate to. So most people in your platform are like you. Most people I see that recognize me, that's fan to me, they like me. You feel me?
Mhm.
So I feel like if this is what your platform find funny, or you feel me, like it kind of like a reflection of who you are as a person. Type.
Exactly.
For sure. For sure. I'm with that. I agree with that for sure. But we be here for a good time, not a long time. You feel me? Oh, nope. You ain't tell the people where they can tap in with what you said.
The Talk Nerdy to Me show on Instagram. And if you look up Mo Hates Media or Mo Really Hates Media on Instagram, YouTube, any of that, you can find me. You can find me on TikTok, but I don't like them. So you're more likely to find me on the Insta and the YouTube, especially the YouTube, because we finna monetize that. I
For
want
sure. Gotta get the
my goal is to make people laugh so frequently that I make money off of it because we deserve it.
Okay, so with the nerdy content, is that easier to get monetized, or is that just your creative route?
That's my creative route because there are a lot of people who are in my vein who are not monetized than I am.
Okay.
So it really depends on you. It really depends on what you have to say, and it really depends on if you could show your personality in a way that's like endearing or interesting to people.
For
Me,
sure.
I got it off of like roasting stuff that I don't like and getting a bunch of other angry nerds to agree with me.
For sure. Anything that we didn't cover, anything you want your platform to know about you that they don't know, any common misconceptions?
I'm not as tall as y'all think I am. A lot of people think I'm tall. I'm 5'9", maybe 5'9.5".
For sure.
I'm not. They every time somebody's like, "Yo, you tall," and that's because my fridge little. I got a little fridge at the crib. Everybody's like, "You
So
tall?"
they
I'm like,
see
"No,
you there, you think you above the fridge. All the time you got a little mini.
no, I got like people be thinking like, oh, you got one of them 6'2" fridges and you up there, and I'm like, no. My mama was 5 feet even. My dad was 6'1". I'm right in between them.
On code of grade. You ain't short, but you ain't tall either.
Yeah, no, I can reach the Oreos off the top shelf, and that's really all I'm worried about.
For sure. Before we get out of here, I got to know what made you call yourself Mohawk. You got a hawk.
So I didn't get to get my hair cut like I wanted to, but I do have a mohawk up under this hat.
Okay.
And my mom is partially indigenous. I don't believe
Okay,
that's
so it is got something to do with the
so
Indian.
it's got something to do with that because people have been like, are you even indigenous? And technically yes, but that's not why the nickname came. The nickname came because friends of mine started calling me Mohawk because I had the same haircut since I was 17. Like that's what happened.
Oh, that is insane. I've been wearing the same hairstyle outside of all this stuff since I was like in kindergarten. I just pull my hair back in ponytail. For sure. But this was definitely a great interview. I appreciate you for coming, chopping it up with me. We get to meet each other. You feel me? This was cool.
I like this.
For
Thank
sure.
you so much.
Are you also a member of Breathing Light?
No, but I'd like to be.
They about to put him on board. Yeah, he need pods.
I could play the tambourine.
No, I think you need to come to church with me. They rock stars over there, you know. You have to work that guitar.
I can play the electric tambourine too.
They put a motor on that whole night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Put a pedal on your tambourine. It's gonna change your life.
for sure. But like I said, we here for a good time, not a long time. Mohawk Johnson, I appreciate you for coming to rock out with me. Until next time, thank y'all. Just a girl from Chicago. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you want to be a guest on my next episode, or if you want to be a sponsor on the next episode, hit that link. You can send me some merch. I can promote you, tag you on my Instagram socials. We can collaborate. So hit me up, hit that link. Let's lock in. Let's work.